Well, hello and good evening and a very warm welcome to a special program called Cricket Predicta on NewsX, powered by OneXBet. Yesterday evening, the Delhi Capitals clinched the first victory of the season by defeating the Lucknow Super Giants for the first time in IPL history. Lucknow, batting first after winning the toss, managed to score 167 runs for the loss of 7 wickets in their allotted 20 overs at the Ikana Stadium in Lucknow. Delhi Capitals chased down the target of 168, reaching 171 for 4 in 18.1 overs. Of course, we had Kuldeep Yadav's stellar performance earned him the Player of the Match title as he claimed 3 wickets for just 20 runs. Moving on to today's match but before we move on to today's match, we still have Stanley Chiodza and Sadanand Vishwanath who were rooting for LSG throughout. We'll come back to that in a while, but we'll also go on and talk about today's match and also welcome David Brooks to our studio from London, who's also a punter of the highest repute. He hasn't got anything wrong. Well, in today's encounter, we can go and talk and discuss, but let me just ask, Stanley Chiodza, the man with all the stats, the man with all the vision, the man who was coaching the team, what went wrong, brother? Yesterday, your LSG went out of the window. Your prediction, what went wrong?
I don't think it's what went wrong. I think it's what went right, because Kuldeep Yadav just got it right and spot on yesterday. I mean, he just bowled fantastically. He just did not want to release the ball, didn't he? Even though I remember there was a time when he had an LBW shot and the captain, Rishabh Pant, you know, he continuously asked him to review. You know, that's how he really wanted to do well yesterday. So, yeah, it all worked well for Kuldeep Yadav. I mean, he was on top of his game, and the LSG just did not have an answer for his bowling.
Sadanand Vishwanath, what's your alibi?
Well, Delhi Capitals aced the chase against LSG. We all were rooting, especially Stanley, me, and the cameraman too.
Yes.
We all were rooting for LSG. And we all really, honestly. And then you know what happened? Before we knew it, there were some 92 for 7. Thanks to a belligerent knock of 55 by Ayush Badoni.
Yes.
And along with Arshad Khan, they stitched together a crucial 73 runs partnership, which brought them to a respectable score. But then it was never going to be enough, because Delhi Capitals had this amazing debutant who announced himself. A new star is born in IPL League. The Australian 22-year-old Jake Fraser McGurk. He went berserk. He went ballistic. Along with Rishabh Pant, they both forged together a crucial partnership. Rishabh Pant began to attack, taking away the pressure, and Jake's McGurk hammered Marcus Stoinis for 20 consecutive sixes to ease the pressure. And they made the run rate just a run a ball. And from then onwards, it was left to the pair of Shane Hope and the other boy, and they just cantered to a wonderful victory. So great win for Delhi Capitals.
Finally.
Finally. The first time they're beating the LSG, because LSG have just played here in the league just for the last 2 years.
Yes.
But coming back to the point, Sunil, what I was trying to make is that the gates now are open for all the teams to address the problems, to address the tactical problems that they've made, the mistakes that they've caused.
Yes.
The team combinations will change now. The captain will have a look at his combination and take some bold decisions. They will have to also drop some very big names. Some very expensive players might have to be dropped, including Johnny Bairstow. So he might give way to another South African cricketer today. And that's an amazing decision which Punjab Kings might take. They might drop Johnny Bairstow and play Willie Rossouw from South Africa. So all these things we're going to see. It's going to be a fascinating IPL. And yeah, we can all fasten our seat belts.
Absolutely. And, there's another parallel race that is getting heated up for the race for wicketkeeper. We'll come back to that because of KL Rahul, Rishabh Pant, Sanju Samson, Ishan Kishan, and 4, 5, 6, 7. We have which is good, a problem of plenty. But in today's match, let's focus our attention The pitch offers assistance to the fast bowlers during the power play overs, akin to Wankhede Stadium. Teams will need to tread cautiously in the initial overs, but a deluge of runs is expected once the batsman settles in. David Brooks, despite everything, all the permutation, combination, new players coming in, the debutants, how do you manage to get your prediction right all the time with 100%? Is there a masterclass?
So far, so good. You know, anything can happen in the IPL, but there are certain trends, aren't there, taking place. One trend I've noticed in today's match,
yes,
is the top five Punjab Kings, the inconsistency there and lack of reliability. I couldn't agree more with Sadnan. I think Johnny Bairstow, has to be given a rest, and I think Riley Rousseau would boost their chances of winning today. But yeah, I mean, how can Punjab Kings keep relying on Shashank and Ashutosh Sharma to bail them out twice? They've bailed them out, saved the day. Shashank, I mean, he's no youngster, I know, he's been around for a while, but all credit to him. Without him, Punjab Kings wouldn't have won their game 2 games ago and wouldn't have got close in their last match. So in terms of, looking at the momentum and looking at the strength of the two teams, you see, even if it's a quick wicket, as you suggest, then Trent Bolt, Rajasthan Royals have got Trent Bolt. But, I mean, one of our favourite players, one of your favourites, one of mine, Chahal,
yes,
any team with him in the attack, I think he'll bowl well in any condition. So, player for player, I think today, Punjab will have their work cut out because Rajasthan Royals look a stronger team, player for player. So I'm hoping to continue my winning run today.
Well, what you're seeing on your screen right now is an over-by-over analysis, and I'd request my PCR to just hold on to it and just enlarge the screen. And for the benefit of Stanley Chiodza, I'm going to ask you, when we look at Punjab, the first 5 over as compared to Rajasthan Royals, Punjab has scored 236 runs as compared to 215 by Rajasthan Royals. They've lost fewer wickets, 8 wickets. Their run rate is 7.86, almost at number 8. Their strike rate is 131, whereas Rajasthan Royals is 119. They've hit more number of boundaries, 37 boundaries, 4 sixes, as compared to 33 boundaries and 3 sixes. Now, that's where your Punjab is ahead of the curve. But when it comes to the 7 to 14 overs, things are different. And when you talk about 15 to 20, things are absolutely different. Now, for the benefit of our viewers, we've divided the match into 3 parts. One is first 0 to 5, then 7 to 14, and then 15 to 20. Now, in this context, you need to be ahead twice in order to win the game comfortably. And Rajasthan Royals takes the cake when it comes to number 2 cluster and the cluster number 3, which is after 14 and 20th overs. Now, Stanley Chiodza, when you look at those figures on your screen, do you think it's a planned way? And on the other hand, the Punjab Kings are only relying on Shikhar Dhawan's explosion in the beginning and they can't sustain it? Your views?
Yeah, I think the Punjab Kings have been doing that. Shikhar Dhawan also hasn't really hit form, and we know what Shikhar Dhawan can do, especially when it comes down when he really gets going. But up and above that, they've got some big hitters who are missing, the likes of Liam Livingston, Sikandar Raza, who's been asked to come and just hasn't been able to put in the performance that we've seen him being able to do for in Zimbabwe colours. So I think it's important that someone like Shashank be given an opportunity to bat high up the water. Would have been a different story. I mean, I noticed this happened as well for Kolkata, where Andre Russell was only given like three overs to come and bat, and they were losing wickets and there was no runs on the board. There's no point really to be holding somebody who can score in that middle period and wait for them to keep the death overs for them. No, if there's an opportunity to bat, give him an opportunity to come up the water, because he will score runs. If you give him an opportunity to bat longer, he will score runs a little longer. So I think there's that trust aspect that needs to come in. I think perhaps some of the coaches are just on the fence in bringing their big hitters up early in the fear that they will lose them. But look, you're better off going with the line of thought that if it goes well, I think that's a better line of thinking. If it goes well, Shashank will score runs. If he bats up the order high up, he'll bat longer and he'll score more than he's doing now.
Well, you briefly touched upon Sikandar Raza, your Zimbabwean skipper in T20 and one of the most accomplished exporters of the game from your country. Stanley, just take us through your memories of Sikandar Raza, the small cub to the Lion King of Zimbabwe, and what is he doing wrong in IPL that he should be doing right? You as a coach, go on.
Well, I'm fortunate enough to actually be putting on a sweater of the franchise team that I work with, and Sikandar Raza so happens to be one of our players there. But the one thing that Sikandar does is you never see him rest. Okay, the moment he lands here, he's back at the nets. He's working on something about his game. And I think when it comes to the IPL, I don't think it's more to do about what he's doing wrong, but I think it's more to do with the fact that perhaps fatigue is kicking in. These guys are playing all over around the world. There's just so many leagues that these guys get themselves involved in. There's very little time in between, and then you've got your international commitments as well. So perhaps I think it's more to do with the fact that certain leagues you just have to leave out, get that body to recuperate, rest, and come back fresh with a fresh body. But then it's the IPL. Who wants to miss out of the IPL?
Well, who wants to miss out on the IPL? Just imagine, Rishabh Pant. We now move on to our important discussion on the wicket keepers. Yesterday, Rishabh Pant took fewest number of deliveries to reach 3,000 IPL runs when it comes to Indians. He's scored in just little about 2,000 odd deliveries, he scored 3,000 runs. Yusuf Pathan is at number 2. Number 3 is Surya Kumar Yadav, of course, one of the best T20 players. Suresh Raina at number 4 and MS Dhoni at number 5 with 2,152. The visuals will come shortly on our television screens right now. But the question is to Sadanand Vishwanath. Sadanand, a half-fit Rishabh Pant is scoring runs like he's never stopped scoring them. Your views. And the second question, do you think the race for the wicket-keeper for the T20 World Cup has started and is now taking off? Your views.
Yep, very correct. It's wide open. You've got Sanju Samson, you've got Rishabh Pant, well, definitely not Dinesh Karthik, but sure, you have Joel too, the test wicket-keeper. And what about Ishan Kishan? Ishan Kishan is really coming into his own.
Yes.
He's batting with a lot of belligerence. He's gone ballistic. And Ishan Kishan is certainly trying to secure his spot as the wicketkeeper for the T20 World Cup. So I think the selectors might go with Ishan Kishan if he remains consistent and somehow makes Mumbai Indians reach the playoffs with his wicket-keeping and his batting. He's been keeping very well too. His good glove work, good footwork. I'm quite impressed with Ishan Kishan's turn of form, especially after missing the Test series, after missing domestic cricket.
Yes.
He's really worked very hard with Hardik Pandya in Baroda. And yes, I think Ishan Kishan is slightly, nosing ahead.
Ishan Kishan has a nose that is in front and is ahead. Sadanand Vishwanath, keep a hand on your heart. You've been one of the best wicket keepers India has seen at the modern ODIs. Tell me, who do you think is your pick? Your pick to play the World Cup?
Well, early days, very to say, but I wouldn't jump the gun. I would say it would be a race between Sanju Samson, Ishan Kishan and Rishabh Pant. It could go either way. It all depends on luck. And remember one more thing, the Lok Sabha elections and the Indian team selections are simultaneous. So a lot of luck is required. But other parts, I would go for Ishan Kishan.
Lovely. David Brooks, he's mentioned a very important point, and coming from one of the top wicket keepers of the country India has produced in the modern day cricket, when he says a name, it matters, it holds that gravitas. Do you think it's a battle between an injured Rishabh Pant and a bruised, someone who's punished for not showing up on various occasions, Ishan Kishan? Is it a secret battle going between the two?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with Sadanand's very wise analysis there. If you're going for the player in form, notwithstanding the availability issues in the past, then Ishan Kishan's got to be right up there, because the manner in which he played in the last match, I mean, was very, very impressive, and must be an attractive option for India in the World Cup to have him up the order, getting them off to a flying start. Sanson's been extremely consistent. He's a name we haven't talked about. Well, sorry, Sadnan mentioned him, but whether that would be seen as a backward step, I don't know. As far as Pant is concerned, I'm a huge fan of Rishabh Pant, but maybe he needs a little while longer to really get back into his top form before playing for representing his country again. He must do, he will do, particularly in tests and ODIs, but with the World Cup coming up so fast, I would give Rishabh Pant more time to make a full recovery. I don't think he's hit his peak. He hasn't hit the peaks of before. You can tell that he's working his way back in. So I think Sadnan's call is a very good one with Ishan Kishan. Someone who's ready to go. If the World Cup started tomorrow or started next month, he's ready to go, isn't he? Well, so I do agree. It's a stakeout between those two.
Well, more than a question, it is an observation, and I just need yes or no from Sutherland. Sutherland, do you think that the days of mid-80s and late 80s are back to Indian, where India had 4 wicket keepers at the same time? You had Kiribhai, we had you, Kiran More and Chandrakant Pandit. Do you think now we have the same kind of time in front of us with 4 or 5 good international wicket keepers? Your views?
That's a good observation made by you, Sunil. Yes, I think the wheel has turned full circle, and there are a lot of emerging wicket keepers. They've taken up the role very well. And yeah, you can see a lot of wicket keepers emerging now and fighting for that one spot for the World Cup in June.
Yes, one spot in the June World Cup. Stanley Chiozza, when you see Ishan Kishan bat like the way he did a couple of nights ago, would you just compliment him, or would you just take him aside and say, hey, what's wrong with the cricketing shot? Where have you pulled this up from? Your views as a coach.
Well, it's kind of, okay, it's a fine line, you know, and listen how I like to use the word fine line. Look, there are days when players just seem to not get anything wrong, okay? You just have to compliment as a coach. And there will be days when you'll be pulling your hair out and wondering, where's this come from, you know? But look, I think at the end of the day, it comes down to the level of cricket that these guys are expected to play. At the end of the day, these guys are expected to take ownership and responsibility of their game. As team coaches, our job is to hold them responsible and accountable for whatever it is that they do. So at this level, it's about man management. At this level, it's about making sure that we create an environment where these guys play fearless cricket. And I think that's the key phrase with regards to T20 cricket is concerned. Fearless cricket, positive cricket. So it's that one format that obviously there's innovation. So you've got to allow that, you know. And at the end of the day, we may be coaches, but remember, these guys are not just cricketers at the end of only. These guys are entertainers. For those fields, for those grounds to be packed, for them to get paid those amounts of money, the game has to be entertaining. So you can't take out that aspect of innovation out of the game of T20.
Well, entertainers and not just cricketers. Well, the opinions are going to be divided when we talk about the entertainment cricketing from the purists to the new generations and the millennials. But at the same time, we see who have, enthralled us. Number one is Kohli with the orange cap. Rayan Parag at 261. Gill at 255. Sanju Samson at 246. And Sai Sudarshan at 226. Sutherland Vishwanath, if you can take us through in detail about this.
Well, they've been enthralling, haven't they? They've kept us totally entertained. That's what the IPL is all about. And all these 5 wonderful cricketers that you spoke about are entertainers. They believe in boundaries, they believe in the big shots, and they've added a lot of power, they've added a lot of muscle to the game now. That's very important. Very quickly, I'd like to touch upon Stanley's point about the coaching angle, if you can permit me, Sanjay. See, basically a coach tries to help a player reach his or her full potential, right? So at this level, you can't really tamper too much with the technical aspect of a cricketer. You've got to deal with him in a mental psyche. You've got to understand his attitude. You've got to understand his temperament. You've got to understand when you can go and speak to him. Well, if he comes and opens up to me and then speaks to me and asks me to guide him, I certainly will. But I can't go straight away to Sachin Tendulkar or to a great cricketer like Ricky Ponting or any other great, like Virat Kohli, for example. I can't go and tell him what to do unless he comes and asks for my guidance, right? So I'll just give you an anecdote. Andre Russell was going through a terrible patch of form playing for KKR. He just couldn't get it right at all, whether it was batting or bowling. It was all falling apart. He went across to my friend Chandrakant Pandit, who now is the chief coach of Calcutta Knight Riders. So Chandubai, he just told him one thing. He said, Andrew Russell, why are you scared of failure? Why don't you go there and just express yourself? He just took him out for breakfast or probably had a lunch with him. And Andrew Russell started thinking that, hey, wait a minute. What Chandrakant Pandit is saying is absolutely spot on. I've got to start now thinking positive. I've got to change my mindset. And after that meeting with Chandrakant Pandit, Andrew Russell was a transformed player and became an excellent match winner, which he's continuing even now.
Right.
That's the anecdote I try to make.
So then these anecdotes and these behind the scenes discussion talks makes this program very interesting for our fans and very illuminating, sharing and coming from a cricketer who's played at top like you. We appreciate your inputs on that. Now moving on to
I'll give you another funny anecdote. A funny anecdote which people will laugh about. While I was coaching the Vidarbha Ranji Trophy team way back in 2001, I was the first professional coach for Vidarbha. And we did pretty well. We entered the knockout and we had a lot of players play for the Indian under-19 team. And yeah, that was a great stint that I had with Vidarbha. But there was this one cricketer who enjoyed chewing a pan while batting. I don't know what he had in that pan, but it was some kind of a magical pan. So the substitute came running to me and said, Sir, this cricketer, his name was Paresh Sultani, a wonderful cricketer. He was employed in a nationalized bank, but he was also doing yoga in service for Vidarbha. Wonderful batsman, explosive batsman. So I told the substitute, go and give him 2 pans. Let him have one on each side. And you know what happened? After he received those 2 pans, which he could not have the previous season, because the coach did not allow him to have that pan. But I allowed him. I allowed him to have his pan. I allowed him to express himself. And he went on to score a double century with the pan in his mouth. So sometimes these kind of things work.
Absolutely. We'll trace down Samtani and get his version of what he was feeling when he got those 2 pans. Well, Stanley Chiozza, interesting part of with the purple cap, Yuzvendra Chahal, 5 matches, 10 wickets. Khalil Ahmed, 9 wickets. Mustafizur, 9 wickets. And Arshdeep Singh at 9 wickets. But leading the pack is Jasprit Bumrah. Do you think it was a foregone conclusion between Bumrah and Chahal?
Well, look, these are 2 bowlers in their prime, and these are 2 bowlers who are genuine wicket takers for that matter. But I think at the end of the day, I'm seeing Chahal taking it. That's my prediction at the end of the tournament. I think Chahal has been spectacular, and I can relate to some of the conversations we've had here, and I can only wonder what the management of RCB was thinking to let a bowler of this quality to go. He's 3 wickets shy of 200 wickets in the IPL. No other bowler has gotten there. And I mean, it's just the way he's taking wickets on average. He's taking a wicket every game he plays. And the role that he has taken, the role that he has grasped, is such that he's Sanju Samson's go-to bowler. He bowls in the middle period. He can also bowl in the dead. So what more can you ask for from a bowler who's got an economy of 7.5 in the middle phase when people are looking to accelerate? I mean, he's been fantastic.
Well, 7.5 in the middle overs for a wrist spinner is always, in today's context, is a big thing. Stanley Chiozza, in 5 seconds, who's your pick today, considering you've lost your thing yesterday? Go on.
I'm going to go with the Rajasthan Royals today. I mean, I think that yes, they may have lost the last game, but I think they have a mojo, they have a plan, and I think they've got the fast bowlers to utilize this surface. So yes, I'm going with the Rajasthan Royals today.
Sutherland Vishwanath, is it because Rajasthan Royals has played 5 matches and won 4, and they're at the top of the points table with 8 points? Who's going to be your pick?
Definitely Rajasthan Royals.
Right.
Yes, they will be looking to consolidate now. But remember one thing, Sanjay. Historically, Rajasthan Royals have been known to slip in the middle. So they have to be very careful that they have to retain their consistency and try to gain more points now, each match they play, and make sure that they reach the playoffs.
Absolutely. David Brooks, the man who always gets his prediction right. Don't know what he does.
I'm going to go in line with my 2 colleagues. We're all on the Royals today. The only rider I would say is if Punjab Kings do make some changes, they need to shake up. As Sadnan was saying earlier, if we see Riley Russo in the team today, I would give Kings a chance and on their home ground. If we see an unchanged team, then I think the Royals will have their measure, particularly as we say, with that stronger bowling attack.
Well, this is the second time consecutively we have our house in unanimity cheering for one team. Well, yesterday they were there, they got it wrong. This time it is there. Let's see what happens. Well, that's all we had time for. Keep watching NewsX. We'll be back after a short commercial break. Don't go anywhere else.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.